Hi, and welcome to episode 11 of the Mars Exploration Team Tournament. This is another near-mirror match between the Totally Civilian Research Vessel by TodTheTidePod and the Python Squad by TodTheTidePod. Let's begin and see which design is better. Both teams have missiles, but the medium missiles of the civilian research vessel are far more deadly, if they can hit. That comes down to sensors, because they are Lua missiles, so they depend on the targeting of the parent craft for their accuracy. This time it was a definite hit, and it smashed off the rocket launcher of the Python in the middle. That said, the civilian research vessel is taking hits, and it looks like two of its missile tubes are now missing, which really hurts it because it cuts down on its primary firepower. Those small heat missiles going right through the protective shroud. Looks like only one of the missiles is still operational, and it does not turn quite fast enough. With such a long missile and only relying on fins in this thin atmosphere, it's going to struggle to make a full loop by the time it runs out of time on the missile. So the civilian research vessel is going to really struggle with hitting the Pythons for the rest of this match. Oh, and it looks like one of those small heat missiles managed a lucky hit through the armor of the civilian research vessel. Round two, begin. The civilian research vessel is really hoping for an early lucky hit to destroy one of the opponents here, because otherwise the numerical advantage strongly favors the Pythons, with their heat missiles getting more chances for a lucky hit. These little missiles are surprisingly deadly. They can only take out a couple blocks at a time, but they are dealing damage directly to the interior with their heat damage. We'll see if all four tubes of the civilian research vessel are still alive after several hits to the rear section. I'm going to pause time for a second here. It looks like at least one of the tubes is missing. So the civilian research vessel is having its firepower cut down quite a bit. And the Pythons are slowly just picking it to pieces. That being said, it has not fired in a while. I suspect one of its advanced control blocks may have been damaged, because if it can't open the rear hatch here, it can't fire its missiles. And the hatch has not opened in quite some time. Looks like the Pythons are going to have a nearly uncontested victory here, with their shots smashing the internals to pieces, while the exterior armor is still fine. Yep, it looks like the AI is either entirely taken out or missing its transmitter. So round 2 goes to the Pythons. Round 3 begins. Now, this time, the civilian research vessel managed to land that early hit that totally devastated one of the Pythons. So we'll see if 2-on-1 is good enough odds for the research vessel to take home the victory. Uh-oh. It didn't fire any missiles just now, despite having the perfect opportunity to. I think once again some critical AI components were taken out, which means even though it can still open its hatch, and even though it can still technically produce missiles, it's not firing. It still has these small missiles on the sides, but that's not quite enough. And you can see the low gravity here in how long it takes these decoys to fall back down to the surface. Well, it looks like this is going to be an easy 3 victories for the Pythons. Its firepower is just being taken out too early in the match. There we go.